In this module, The Media and the Medium, we will look at three different theories. Theory 1, agenda setting. Agenda setting theory explains that media sets the agenda for the public. The media tells the people what is important by the number of times a story is reported. If they do not report on a story, they indicate what stories are unimportant. Media sources also tell the public what is important by what features of a story they emphasize and what features of a story they decide not to emphasize. Scholars have had various ideas about how influential the media are in people's lives. In the early days of mass media, people were seen as helpless victims of the powerful mass media. This notion was eventually discredited and replaced by what is called a limited effects model of the mass media, which acknowledges that media influences people, but they also assert that media's influence is minimized or limited by certain aspects of the individual audience members' personal and social lives. Agenda setting theory rests on three basic assumptions. Assumption 1. The media establishes an agenda, and in so doing, they're not simply reflecting reality, but they are shaping and filtering reality for the public. Assumption 2. The media's concentration on the issues that compromise their agenda influence the public's agenda, and these together influence the policymaker's agenda. Issue 3. The public and policymakers have the possibility to influence the media's agenda as well. So if we think about this idea of agenda setting and what gets played and what does not get played on the media, you have an idea how certain stories and certain people's issues are posited as more important than other stories. The next theory we'll look at is cultivation theory, and this is also one of my favorite theories. Cultivation theory began as a way to test the impact that all television viewing had on viewers, particularly when it came to violence. Regardless of the influence and the pervasiveness of social media, television still holds a central place in people's experiences. Cultivation theory is a theory that predicts and explains the long-term formation and shaping of perceptions, understandings, and beliefs about the world as a result of consumption of media messages. Cultivation theory suggests that mass communication, particularly television, cultivates certain beliefs about reality that are held in common by mass communication consumers. Cultivation theory makes a number of assumptions. It assumes that television is essentially and fundamentally different from other forms of mass media. Television shapes society's way of thinking and relating, and the influence of television is unlimited. Cultivation theory. And last but not least, media oncology theory. Media oncology theory is defined as the study of how media and communication processes influence human perceptions, our feelings, our understandings, and our value. The influence of media technology on society is the main idea behind media oncology theory. And there are certain assumptions that frame the theory. Assumption 1 is that the media infuses nearly every act and action in our society. Assumption 2 is that media fixes people's perceptions and organize their experiences. And last but not least, media tie the world together. The first assumption underscores the notion that people cannot escape the media in their daily lives, and media permeates people's very existence. Can we think that's false, or do we lean to that being true? In addition to looking at traditional forms of media, such as like the radio, movies, and television, media oncology theory looks at the influence that the numbers, games, and even money can have on society. Scholar McLellan felt that in numbers, in terms of communication and media, it was constructed by elites in society to establish a profile of the crowd. Therefore, it may be possible to create a population capable of being informed by one singular thought. Media oncology theory is perhaps best known for the catchphrase, the medium in the message, or the medium is the message. It's a humble and fascinating phrase, meant that the message is always constructed through the medium. The content, of a mediated message is secondary to the medium.